which we're also going to be doing a live webinar on there later on today. Kind of a getting to know you acclimation type of thing. We've got as many people in there as we pretty much wanted, and we're going to see who are going to stick with us, and we're going to start to really dive into that thing. And we're going to go into we're going to start up our accountability system that we have in place there, which is really, really cool. It's called Coach Accountable. We had tested it before, and we finally got our hands wrapped around how this thing works. But it's great because it's an accountability system for you, where it's going to measure where you're succeeding and where you need improvement. So that's pretty cool stuff. It'll be posted there. So today I was talking with Michael Fisher about what we're going to talk about. All of our webinars have been different material. We're going to keep going in that direction. We've been at this for a couple of months. We missed this last week, and that was because of me. Again, I was driving back with my kids and my dog from along my 4th of July vacation. So I completely brained it. I forgot about it. And so my apologies. But what we figured we would do this time is we were going to talk about pixels and Facebook, which, as Michael said, is kind of the sexy thing. But we're going to pull back on that. We're going to do something that's going to resemble a little bit of a review, and along with some just best practices. And I think it's a good time for us to reflect on, am I engaging in these best practices? Am I being honest with myself to see exactly where we're at? And again, of course, if anybody has any questions or anything that they would like to, hello, yeah, whoa. So for anybody who, I was just caught off guard a little bit here. So for if anybody has anything that they want to share with us, certainly throw that in there. And I want to say a massive, massive hello to you, Victor and Monica. Wow, I hope you're doing good, Victor. I want to talk to you after this. It's wonderful. It's wonderful to see you on this call. Gosh, I hope you're doing okay. I saw a post yesterday, and I was deeply concerned. I didn't know if I should contact you or not. Anyways, it's wonderful that you're on here. So, anyways, that caught me off guard a little bit. That's great. Good news. It's the best news I've had all day.
That's very good news.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's really, really good news. Okay, so anyways, Michael, why don't you jump in on best practices here, and I'll go ahead and I'll chime in every now and then.
Cool. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is completely steal Frank's plan. I'm gonna just completely borrow it, and I'm going to share it with you because I know Frank would want you to steal his plan because it's a good plan. It's simple sometimes to just go out there, show up, block and tackle, and run the ball right down the middle. And that's, for the guys in this call, you kind of understand what's going on. If you're a woman, I'm sorry, I don't have the analogies correct. But it's real important that we really step back and analyze what we're doing. I know folks invest in growth programs and coaching programs and restructure how they're running their business all the time. And I've seen a lot of folks who kind of focus on calling 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 agents on Monday and inviting them all the coffee and just asking questions and getting to know them. And that's great. We love that. We love the effort. We love the structure. But what we think sometimes folks miss is engaging with agents when they really need us. They need us to be that marketing partner. And one thing we've covered a lot on our calls thus far is the importance of positioning yourself as a loan officer as someone who truly cares, who can truly help, who can truly offer assistance and solve one of the agent's biggest problems, which is, what do I do to find more clients? What do I do to move these properties quickly and ultimately make things as seamless as possible? So what we have seen over time, and for the loan officers, they're fairly successful, and certainly a lot of these ideas are straight up Frank's, is a great time to call the agent is when they have a new listing. Hey, what's going on, Josh? Congratulations on that new listing that you just listed on Point Trail. That's a killer house. I've driven by that. I'm excited that you're able to, to get some new inventory. Can I ask you real quick how you got that listing? Do you know the folks pretty well? Is it a friend of yours, or have you been working your system for a while? Is it someone that you picked up from an open house. I'm just curious. I'm just kind of figuring out what's working for you. Shut up, let them talk. Now here's the key. Ask the agent if you want them to help out the seller. What a great opportunity, if that seller doesn't already know what they're doing, to jump in and be a lender that's going to pre-approve them, potentially work with them, or help them even as a second look lender. I know one of our other calls we were talking about how Joey, Frank's son, made a video about being a second look lender, about being the backup quarterback. I believe he used Tom Brady. I'm going to be a Tom Brady kind of backup. This is a great opportunity to offer your assistance as a backup quarterback. If it's a good agent, they probably already have that seller connected with someone who's pre-approved and figured out what their next move is. But you never know. The seller might have talked to an online lender that nobody locally likes, or the seller might just be looking for some more options. So open up the door. Don't forget about that extra opportunity on the table with the seller's next round of financing, or, of course, folks walking through that need pre-approval. Remind that agent that, yes, Listing Booster has automated and started the process, but we're going to help you. We've got a couple steps that we're going to take. We also want to remind you about some of the things we've talked about, perhaps taught you some classes about, shared on webinars, about turning the lead capture on, and about posting this listing in as many places as you can to start building a buzz around that property. Of course, ask if there's anyone else, if there's any other buyer that you can help or seller that you can help earlier in the process, perhaps at the point where they're not pre-approved. And of course, find out if there is an open house. Now, we all know, if we've been following along or using Listing Booster, there's some great flyers, and we also talked about an open house strategy, I believe a couple calls ago. So you can remind the agent, are you using the open house strategy that we talked about? Have you built that database of emails? Are you showing the seller how we're going to email everybody that's on your database and invite them to this open house? So great opportunity. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't know when to jump in. And this is just because this is kind of top of mind for me right now. I mentioned I was just up at the beach in Washington. It's because my in-laws have a little beach house up there, a little tiny one. They're in the process of selling their house, which is right outside of Seattle, because they're getting up there in age and they don't need this house. It's, for a variety of reasons, they need to get rid of it and they're getting older. Okay? Now, we know, you hear all the analytics, 80% of the people who are selling a house or buying a house in the same market. Okay? So when we talk about, being that backup quarterback or using Listing Booster, I was thinking about being that backup lender. Okay? So, one of the benefits of putting our sign writer up with Listing Booster is the person who is selling that house is more than likely buying a house in the same, business footprint, your business footprint. So when you or somebody who you're going to hire a $10 an hour 17-year-old kid to make sure that you're getting your signage up, you're going to get the benefit of the traffic from that sign, but understand that your best opportunity might lie within that house. It might be that person who's selling the house. Because if they are buying in that neighborhood and they don't have their finances figured out, you have a slam dunk deal. Because that person's going to qualify. If they're selling their house, they're going to have their proceeds from it, which means they're probably going to have a down payment. They're selling their house because they know their credit's going to be, in such shape that they're going to be able to buy the house, so you're going to get a really high conversion rate. Now, here's why I bring up my in-laws. Okay, so I've been doing loans for 25 years. In some way, shape, or form, I've been involved with mortgages and marketing for 25 years. So you think if there is anybody in the world who would have their shit together, it would be my family, right? Now, my in-laws are like my parents. I love my mother-in-law. She's the coolest lady in the world. I've actually hooked them up with 2 lenders, okay? With somebody over here with Michael's company, talking about a reverse mortgage with them. Hey, they got a reverse mortgage specialist, which I think they should be doing. Well, my father-in-law is having a hard time wrapping his head around, doing a reverse mortgage because he doesn't see it as really owning a house. He's dealing with all the stigmas from it, even though we've gone through it a million times. Okay? There is a second lender, a local person that I know up there really well. I said, maybe you can go visit them because you're in, choking distance with my father-in-law and talk with him about financing. So he sat down with my father-in-law, and he didn't make a connection for some way, shape, or form because he's more thinking about my mother-in-law whose health is not doing that good. Now, this was all 2 months ago, okay? But now their moving is becoming something that's more imminent, okay? So they found a real estate agent that they wanted to work with. Okay, they're going to have this house listed here in the next week because that market is starting to get saturated with listings up there. It's peaking right now. They thought their house was going to sell for $500,000. It's going for $650,000. It appreciated $150,000 over the past year. That's true. Okay, so now that my in-laws could be picked off by a lender right now. So let's say that real estate agent was working with a listing booster person, and that listing booster person went over there and put a sign up on that, put a sign writer up on a sign in front of my in-laws' house, like right now, and knocked on the door and said, hey, I'm working with your real estate agent. I'm dealing with financing. Can I help you out with any questions? That loan officer would pick up a $500,000 loan just for putting that sign writer up and knocking on that door. They are perfectly primed to be picked off right now. And these are perfect credit having sellers. So how many other people out there meet that profile? So when we're talking about being a backup lender or different opportunities that maybe don't reveal themselves to us in a very linear fashion, one of the great things about getting our sign writers up and maybe being that backup lender type of thing is knocking on that door and telling the person why you're putting the sign up and answering any questions they may have about financing. Or if it's too busy for you to do, you have that $10 an hour 17-year-old kid who goes and knocks on the door and says, I'm putting this up on behalf of Brian Stevens, who happens to be working with Sally Jones, your real estate agent. We're getting this sign writer up so we could sell your house for top dollar as quick as possible. And Brian Stevens wanted to know if he could answer any questions you had about financing, or just maybe give you a second opinion as to what some of your options may be. Would that be okay? Yes, it will, because people like the idea of reciprocity. Great, can I get your phone number? Or would you like Brian's card? So imagine, if I go through here, and I know we showed this to you before, but, I'm looking at a list right now with loan officers who've got 200 to 300 listings, and there's a whole bunch of them. Imagine if you had a third of the sign writers up on those listings. Do you think that there's a probability that you as a lender might be able to pick off, one or two of these high conversion rate, good deal sellers on a monthly basis? And the answer is emphatically yes.
Talking to Kevin Bilberry, this was one of his main strategies. He worked a lot with for sale by owners, but when he was working with the transaction that wasn't for sale by owner, this is exactly how he would pick up the majority of his business. Kevin didn't call as much directly on agents or do direct consumer marketing outside of for sale by owners, but when you pick up listings, he would personally go put the sign out and do exactly what you said, Brian. So I know you guys have talked about that. I think it was on one of the hangouts that you guys did. But what a great opportunity, especially if you've been branding yourself in the local community already and you know a lot of the folks. You might even find out before you go to that house who the sellers are and if they have a friend of yours in common, or anything that you can know about them just before you leave. Or obviously if you're sending a 17-year-old, that's a little different. But this is a fantastic opportunity, and these are really your ideal clients, like you said, Brian. I mean, somebody who's already paid their mortgage for decades or years, not necessarily a brand new first-time buyer that needs credit counseling. Somebody that's got the 800 score that just needs to figure out how to properly coordinate timing, either two mortgages at once or buying and selling on the same day. What a great opportunity to meet nothing but the best kind of clients, folks that are well qualified. You don't have to worry as much about the credit. The folks that everybody truly wants to get in their pipeline. Stress-free loans in theory, right? So we were talking a little bit about open houses. Great opportunity to figure out when is there an open house, if there is an open house, what you could do to perhaps assist them, remind them of some of the tools that are in Listing Booster to either print flyers or to pull some of the database information, some of the lists that they've generated from previous listings, so that you can email that list and perhaps drive some more excitement around the property, drive some more folks to the open house, show value to the seller. So great stuff here. We'll jump back into Listing Booster and kind of remind you guys or show you where to find that stuff in a minute. Lead capture, like I said, I'll go into Listing Booster and show you, just kind of remind you where to find that over here in the agent setting. But we want to make sure we're turning that on. And if we see that the agent hasn't turned it on, we want to perhaps even jump on a hangout with them. When I make the agent call, I like to have my Hangout tool. I use Ring Central. I like to have it handy, have it open on my computer just in case they need me to walk through something. I can say, hey, are you at your laptop? You got a quick minute? Let's just go walk through this. Then we'll go ahead, dial them up, do a quick Hangout, show them exactly perhaps what could work better. We'll jump over here, show them how to turn the lead capture, show them how to turn on the text code if they haven't done it, or even at that point ask them if somebody else on their team, one of their assistants is doing the marketing, perhaps we should talk to them. What a great service and what a great way to be a marketing partner by actually recognizing the agent's kind of busy, saying, hey, I get you're busy, you're carrying 30 listings. How about I just dial up Sally? I know she's been doing a lot of the work. I want to make sure she knows how to turn this lead capture on. I'm going to still help you post. I know Sally's helping you as well, but I want to walk through it and just show Sally what some of the best agents that we work with have done to be successful. You like that, Brian?
I do.
All right, so we know that we've gone through some of the basics. We've tried to figure out if there's a way we can get in touch with the seller, but we still want to provide value. We still want to do the sexy things, the Facebook pixels, the ads, all that kind of stuff. And that's where folks are constantly coming to me and TJ and some of the folks that do this regularly and asking us how to get into the internet click part of it. I just want somebody to click and buy the house and do the loan and make $1 million. Fantastic. Let's start out with the basics. Let's make sure that we've at least got a place to advertise, some kind of community, or some kind of place to actually share properties. I straight up stole this from TJ Barker. It's a presentation he put together. This is a page that he runs. We call it a community page. It's a page that's essentially related to Baltimore, related to real estate. He posts information. He posts property stuff.
Hey, Fish, that's 100%. That page is 100% for just running ads from. Like, that's literally all that page is, the community page right there. I mean, I tried building out where I had all kinds of engagement. I had these big ideas, grand ideas about actually setting up this fan page where people would interact. And the fact is, fan pages don't work unless you're running, putting money behind them and you're running ads from them. So, hate to burst anyone's bubble who might be watching this that has 4 or 5 fan pages or business pages out there, but I really think that's what they're best used for at this point.
Absolutely. Yep, I agree with you there, TJ. Good to have you on the call. I hope your Listing Booster launch presentation went well.
It went exceptionally well, and I'm running this from my iPhone right now, so I could hop on here. So I apologize that I'm late, and if we have any technical difficulties, we'll blame it on Apple.
Perfect. With that launch that you were just doing, I mean, that was essentially a recreation of, what was it, the first or second webinar that I think it was the second webinar that we did with Brian that's currently on Mortgage Shots Kills. It's there for the replay if anybody wants to go see that. That's exactly what TJ did. Just went right into the real estate office, teach the class, position himself as an authority, offer value, offer as much help with the agents as he can. Of course, remind them, hey, if you catch any extra opportunities, if you catch a fish, if we both kind of work together as a team, is it fair that I could maybe work with you together on at least this deal? Not trying to.
And you know something? Yep. Everybody has my pre-app on their phone right now, because the one thing, and not to get off topic, I know this is the Listing Booster thing, but part of the Listing Booster presentation that just is such a simple segue into keeping the top of mind with using that pre-app. I have everyone pull up their phone, text TJB to the phone number. They all have it. I've captured all their information at this point. So Listing Booster and pre-app, again, just seamless combination right there, and just another way for us to provide value. But let's go ahead and get back to actually what you guys are talking about here. Sorry to jump in. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you, man.
Perfect, man. I think I'm going to maybe jump in and show folks how to do a community page post at the end of this.
Yep.
But this is us showing the users a good place to perhaps start and share your information. And I really like how you did this with the Baltimore Real Estate Report. You've been running this page for 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Cool. So Craigslist posting queue, in the Listing Booster queue. Again, if you haven't done it, find somebody to pay $10 an hour, get your assistant to do it. One of the tips that TJ and I have been discussing with folks one-on-ones or some of the calls we've been doing is when you're posting from Craigslist, we found that we believe it works a little better if you have someone that's in your local geography posting, correct, TJ?
Yeah, we don't have any proof of this. This is just secondhand information has been told to us regarding posting to Craigslist, not specifically Listing Booster, but some folks have told us that when they're using, like, say, a virtual assistant in the Philippines, Craigslist grabs that IP address and they don't like that. So we usually say, if you want to go ahead and do it, try to do it locally from a local IP address to where that Craigslist group is that you're posting to. And honestly, like I said, I use my 10-year-old daughter. She posts 2 or 3 or 4 of these for me, a day. Makes it super simple for her. It takes her 10 minutes or so, and gets that posted in there into Craigslist. And I know it's local to where I'm advertising the properties. And one of the things to talk about here, Fish, and I don't think we talked about Craigslist enough. If you're consistent with that, and when I say consistent, it's exactly what I just said. And we actually got this from Brian. It's from the Listing Booster training. Don't go, if you have 100 listings in your Listing Booster, don't post all 100 Listing Booster or all 100 listings on a Friday afternoon. Post 3 to 5 a day. It takes a few minutes, but when you're consistent with it, and you consistently do that, you will absolutely get people texting and opting in from Craigslist.
I dig it. Post to 5 groups. Now, I believe we showed this on week 1, week 2, and week 3. Finding local Facebook groups. You have to, of course, join the group. In some cases, you'll find that they'll delete your posts if you're posting too much or being too spammy about it. But groups that are close to where the property is located, that have a lot of local community members, the larger the group, generally the better. Here's Middle River Yard Sales, 10,000 members. You're going to get a fair amount of eyes on the property if you put it in a group of 10,000 members. Some of the previous webinars that we've been doing where we showed folks getting 5, 10, 15, 20 opt-ins within the first few hours, in some cases the first half hour, have been opt-ins or folks clicking on the Listing Booster single property website from these types of groups, from the type of groups that have 10,000 members and are somewhat local to the community. It's not just folks posting on their business page or sharing with their 1,000 friends. It's putting a lot more eyes on the property. So again, the concept of creating a buzz, spreading that property around as much as you can, and just getting as much interest as you possibly can. Posting
hey, Fish, real quick, let me jump in on that too. Sorry. But one of the things that, and we spoke about this on a previous webinar when the week 2, when we spoke about what to do with all the leads that you have coming in. One of the most important pieces about this, why you're generating and capturing this information, is because if you are going to move into some of the advanced concepts as far as doing Facebook advertising, this is, in our opinion, one of the best ways to create an accurate targeting campaign with this. Especially now as Facebook has been eliminating a lot of the real estate targets in here. This is actually giving us information of people who are interested in purchasing or potentially purchasing a home or looking at a home, but are potentially interested in real estate. So by gathering this information right here, this is the easiest way to get that. And we use this information for so much more than just sending out an email and trying to get somebody to click on that. This is really the foundation for a lot of the lead generation campaigns as we move forward.
Now, you mentioned something, TJ, that I know you and I have been talking about personally, but it's that Facebook has been removing some of the advertising criteria, some of the marketing criteria for real estate. I have my own opinions on why that might be. What is your thought process on that? Why do you think they would have taken those away, since there's a lot of folks in real estate trying to spend money?
My thought, and again, this is just a complete guess, is that I know there was a lot of concerns about how folks were advertising and ensuring that they were staying compliant as far as equal housing and equal, and being an equal housing lender, equal housing opportunity, etc. I think that there was also maybe some privacy concerns with that type of information. And all this being said, so this is just a guess on my part. I have scoured and searched the internet, and I haven't found the reason why. Now, that being said, someone's probably going to post in the Mortgage Shop Skills like a link to a very prominent article on this that we just missed. But so that's just my guess. But what that means for us as Listing Booster users, again, if we're going to go ahead and use paid advertising, it makes it a little bit more difficult to just go ahead and start a campaign and select people who are likely to move, or people who are renters, or someone who could be a first-time homeowner. It means that we have to be a little bit more of a professional as far as how we're generating our targets in here. And so, again, the easiest way to do it is to go ahead and capture the information up front at zero cost by posting our Listing Booster listings with the Facebook opt-in in the groups, capturing that information, using the information we pull from that to build our audience.
I dig it. Now, I'm pulling this straight up out of, and not to get too sidetracked, but a presentation that I did in Metro Detroit just 2 weeks ago, and we were talking specifically about marketing. And one of the things that I shared that I don't know where I picked it up, or if I made it up, or got in a course. So if somebody else put this idea in my brain, I'll give you credit. But I was talking about the idea of having the best message in America, knowing exactly what you're talking about, being an expert, but standing in the back of the room and talking to a wall. It doesn't matter what your message is if nobody sees it, or if the right audience doesn't see it. And it's critical that you are trying to put your message out to the right audience, to folks that actually have a chance of engaging with you, to folks that potentially can use your services. And if you're a local face-to-face lender, which a lot of the folks that use Listing Booster are, they say, yeah, I got a couple state licenses, but I really like working with folks in my backyard that I can at least meet face-to-face one time or go to their closing. This is the best way to build an audience. It is a method of finding local people. We know they're all on Facebook. The stats don't lie, and I'm not going to get too sidetracked on the stats, but if all of our folks are hanging out in the community and a community moms group or a group called What's Happening in My Town, and next thing you know, you've captured 600 to 800 emails, and you start sending professional emails to them, announcing events, Brian's Yelp strategy, I think we talked about a couple calls ago, announcing open houses, and doing it in a cool way that's what, Brian? Engaging, informative. I don't know. What are you? Yeah. What are the best ways?
Valuable, entertaining, and enriching.
I see. I knew that, but I was pretending I didn't know.
Yeah. Everything that you send has to either be valuable, entertaining, or enriching. If it's not one of those three things, you're just wasting bullets.
So you've got a message that's valuable, entertaining, and enriching. You've got a local audience now because you've built this audience through your Listing Booster opt-ins, and you're going to start marketing. And I believe what we talked about, Brian, is that we're looking at this in a fashion that's way more than linear. It's not, I got 3 emails, and now all of a sudden I got 2 deals. It's, guess what? Michael or TJ or Brian is the go-to guy in Baltimore, in West Metro Detroit, in Vacaville, because I see Brian all the time. He's telling me about the best tacos on Tuesday. He's got an open house going. I saw he put balloons out. It looks like he rented the Johnson's Corvette to take folks for a drive around the block. Think out of the box a little bit. Work with your agents a little bit. Do things that others aren't doing. I'm going to completely pull us off track here because I sometimes do that. But let's say now that you've done your Listing Booster launch and you have an open house and you're still trying to figure out how to stand out. It's Amazon Kindle Day. Why don't you go out and buy a Kindle for 30 bucks? Why don't you put your Pre-App 1003 on it? And why don't you offer to share that with the agent to help anybody who needs financing at that open house? What about that? So again, anything you can do to engage with folks at the local level that you have the best chance to capture. You've got a friend in common. You've got the agent on your side. There's way less selling skill involved when you have those kind of local connections. So I'll jump off my soapbox a little. But I think this is critical. This is the key to my business, is trying to meet people and shake hands and have that local reputation. So I love this stuff. All right, post the agent's wall. What are we doing here? We're letting the agent know that we're engaged in their property, in their listing, in their process, offering, of course,
Hey, Fish, I think we're losing you, bud.
Yeah, Fish. Can you hear me, TJ?
I got you, Brian. Fish is going on a tangent there right now. He'll never catch up with us.
A presentation last
Hey,
week. Yeah, go ahead.
Fish. You need to back up about the last 30 seconds. Your audio went out.
Oh, sorry, bud. All right. So we were talking about what's the point of posting this on the agent's personal wall. They've already got marketing of their own. You know, they perhaps already did a website. Maybe they've got your listing booster link that they're using. Why would you want to put this on their personal page? Well, number one, you remind them that you're there to help. Number two, of course, you're reminding everybody in their sphere with your own personal branding, as TJ and his cute kid, that maybe Mike works with TJ, branding TJ just a little bit. But more importantly, Michael, is this an agent that you work with, TJ? Michael Kojanowicz? Well, I guess we lost him.
Yep, nope, I'm here. No, it is.
So when you post this on his wall, does that start up a conversation?
You know, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but it's really what you just said. I want to go ahead and post that on his wall to get some interaction. This guy's a pretty big player in our area. So this is as much for him to see that I'm interacting with him and his listing as it is for other agents that are out there to see that I'm connected with him. And honest to God's truth, I've had agents who say, yeah, if you work with Mike, you know, because he's a super successful agent, I know you're a good loan officer. It's the whole perception is reality thing. So, I mean, there's a couple reasons we go ahead and do this. Plus, you know, we want, you know, his sphere of influence to see that he's got this listing out here as well. A lot of folks want to click on a lot of his old database that he's connected to on Facebook. Want to click on that and just help us out.
That is, by the way, that is such a great point there, because all real estate communities are like playgrounds at a grade school where there's cliques. I mean, it really is, and everybody knows who the top producing real estate agents are, you know, in the market. You know, like you know, Susan Lambright, you know, Linda Brooks, you know, in my market. And if you're associated with Susan or Linda Brooks, you know, all the other agents want to emulate Susan and Linda, that type of thing. So if they see that you're posting and you're working with them, it's a great endorsement of you from that agent without having to actually get that endorsement from them. And agents would be more inclined to work with you or give you a shot based on the perceived relationship that you have with that agent. So if you've got a banging agent that's got a great reputation that everybody aspires to be, and you're posting and connecting yourself with that agent, that's a great nonverbal third-party endorsement of your abilities as a loan officer. That's a brilliant point, TJ, and it shouldn't be overlooked because all agents in every market, you know, kind of behave very similarly. That'd be a great way to pick up agents.
Yep, I appreciate it. Yeah, and it absolutely is. And look, I mean, this is straight up. This was Fisher's strategy as far as posting on the agent's wall, and we kind of backed into figuring this out. But once we figured it out, that you know, they said it's that third-party endorsement without even having the third party endorsing you works, and we started including it in you know, in this and doing it pretty much every time we can.
Go back a couple pages. So you may want to do this before you call the agent and congratulate them. You'll find that they're more open to taking your call.
Yep, absolutely.
I dig it. So what do you do if the agent gives you the seller's contact info? Well, of course you call the seller. We all know that. But we talked a couple weeks ago about having a strategy to have these sellers' friends share the listing. This would be a great opportunity to take the script that we have in the Mortgage Kills group and share that with the seller and explain to the seller why you're doing it. Well, Mr. Seller, we have a partnership with Mike, however you say his last name, and we know that Mike really wants to get as much traffic on your property and to share it with many people locally and perhaps even non-locally that are interested in the property. Now, you may have some friends that may know friends that perhaps will be a great fit for this property, and those friends may not be staring at Zillow. They may not pre-approve today. They may have been kicking tires for a year just waiting and might have even given up. But if there's one of them out there, and if there's just the smallest chance that that person is a rich doctor and has a lot of cash and just doesn't mind paying way over appraised value, we certainly want to get them to your property. So what we're going to encourage you to do, and hopefully real simply, is just use the script that we've got for you. And I personally have that script in my email template saved. I think I showed you guys a couple weeks ago how you just take some of the features of the home and the listing booster link, and you can just forward it out in an email, or you can copy it in a Facebook message, and just encourage the seller to post it on their own personal Facebook page, send it to their closest friends to post on their Facebook page, or email out as well. Now, you're not going to find a whole lot of sellers that will email it to their whole database, but you never know. In my area, we have some engineers that have emails and spreadsheets and everything. You can convince them to do stuff because they've got that all in a spreadsheet. So great opportunity to show the seller that you're engaged and interested in helping them sell the property. Something cool to talk to them about other than just what's today's 10-year fixed rate on a $60,000 loan.
Well, and another, what I've always said, and I said this on our last webinar, but a good loan officer understands that they need to leverage their own database. A great loan officer understands that they need to leverage other people's databases. So in your example, where you have the seller and you're sending them a template that they can then post on their wall, what's happening is they're marketing their own property. But because you have your lead capture enabled on that single property website that they're now sending out, whenever somebody from the seller's database clicks on that link, you then are co-opting people from another person's database. So you're not only working your database, that's what a good person does. A great person works another person's database. And the more you engage in this, it's an accumulative effect. So you get the doctor from this one listing, you get the nurse from this one listing, you get the mechanic from this one listing. So you're leveraging all these people's databases, and as they click, they all end up dumping back into yours. And of course, the bigger the database that you have, the higher the probability down the road that it's going to be an effective tool for you to use to help sell, to not only help your real estate agents sell their listings, but to also pick up more clients for yourself. Make sense?
I dig
Absolutely.
it. Now, TJ, this is a cool variation on posting on your community page and helping the agent out. Now, I'm guessing you create these Facebook events and then share them with your agent pretty much right away.
Well, yeah, this is an event. This is actually a paid ad, right? So very similar to if we were running a Facebook ad. We actually created the event, and then we put a little bit of money behind it just to get in front of more sets of eyeballs right there. And again, it does a couple things. One, it helps out the agent, and it helps potentially pull some traffic through for folks that may not have known it. For us as marketers and advertisers, gives us the opportunity to capture information that we can use in the future for future advertising, try to get people to click opt in, grab their information. It's just a different way to position the home than what most people are doing right now. I mean, I don't know about your market. Every market's different, but I don't see a whole lot of these ads out there. Do you, Fish?
I see agents creating these open houses and inviting just their friends. And then when I go back and I look on the list, I'm kind of like a detective. I look and see who's going to the open house. It's like their mom and their brother and the two buyers agents on their team all say that they're attending. But that kind of lets me know right away two things. Number one, this is a great opportunity. If I saw an event like this that wasn't done by me, it's a great opportunity for me to start a conversation with that agent, because I think I've got a little bit more marketing prowess, or I got some good ideas that could really help that agent do a better job with that particular event or the promotion of that event, some of the stuff we just talked about. And I can ask them, hey, I saw that you had this event for your open house. How did it go? How did you promote it? Did you have a lot of traffic? I'm just really curious. I really like to understand how agents market properties, and I thought that was a cool house, and I hope it went well for you. So you see that kind of stuff out there, you start the conversation. Number two, that gives you a great idea of what agents you want to put in your top maybe 10, 20, or 100 list to work with. You see folks that are perhaps a little bit ahead of the curve and have already started latching on to the internet marketing unicorn. You know right away, this is a person I want to keep track of. I want to pay attention to. I want to offer value to, because this is the kind of person that's like-minded, and they're most likely to understand what I'm saying, perhaps a little bit ahead of the curve. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. The other thing with this, and this is kind of not necessarily listing booster specific, but strategy specific, this is a great opportunity for you as the loan officer. If you see someone that is just advertising an open house and not doing it as an event, they just posted on their Facebook wall or their business page or something of that nature that there's an open house coming up, that's a great opportunity for you to reach out and to bring that added value and to start that conversation with that real estate agent about what makes you different and what you can bring to the table. It's like what you just said, it's finding people that you connect with. But I know as loan officers, oftentimes we live in fear of the almighty real estate agent, afraid to make that call. Well, here's an easy way. You have a reason to call. It's an easy conversation to have. And I have yet to have someone tell me, you know something, now I'm not interested in you promoting my open house this weekend. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
Absolutely. Now, I have had agents tell me, they're too busy to talk right now. They don't want to meet me for lunch. They don't want to meet me for coffee. And I'm trying hard not to bash other coaching programs or loan officers because, that stuff does work. It's effective. But if you've got an opportunity for an agent to do a better job at their open house, to do a better job for their sellers, to create more buyers, to just be better at what they do, be better at marketing, it's such an easy way to open the door.
Right.
I can't stress this enough. It's so easy to start the conversations and to position yourself as somebody that knows how to market. I think we talked about it 4 or 5 calls ago. If you're the guy that just says, here's this listing booster account, you're going to sell more houses, fantastic, let's go. Okay, that's somewhat valuable. But if you're the guy that really understands what their challenge is, how to solve it, how to market on the Facebooker, on an email list, you've elevated yourself to a true partner. So.
And you don't even need to make the phone call. You can just send a Facebook message to them, because if they're working on Facebook, they obviously have an interest, they're comfortable with it. It's just going to make your life easier. It's going to allow you to attract more agents.
I dig it. I dig it. All right. Doing campaigns, this is probably another call or 2 or 3 in itself. This is some of what we are talking about in the coaching and consulting programs. But for those of you that know how to run ads, great opportunity to run ads for yourself, to use perhaps the pixels or the audiences that you created already through emails, to run property-specific ads. This is where TJ and I really we get excited because there's so many opportunities around advertising back to the lists that we've created. Anything to add to that, buddy?
Nah, man. I just if you're not familiar with lead ads, I think it's probably right now the best type of advertising you can do. It's the most cost-effective, converts at the highest rate. Like I said, that's a whole nother webinar to get into that. But if you are going to run ads, I strongly suggest running lead ads.
Dig it. All right. Now, this is one of the simplest things, but I think many of us miss it. I just mentioned this a couple minutes ago. Having that signature line set up and ready to go. I mentioned having a signature line for the seller, but a signature line to recap what was going on with the call that you had with the agent. Again, go back to slide 1 where we talked about what you're trying to do here. Ask the agent how they get your listing. Thank you for sharing with me how you got your listing. Thank you for sharing information about the seller. Good luck on your open house. If there's anything I can do to help, type up a template email. Be professional. As soon as you finish the call or you have the Facebook message, shoot them on an email. Remind them how folks can reach out to you. Have your pre-app 1003 link on it. If your name is Thomas Barker, maybe get rid of this, because do you still work for this place, TJ? Is that public knowledge yet, or?
No, yeah. I mean, that's like 3 companies ago, and this is January, so that we did this.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is get good at the tech part of it. Make it simple for yourself. Don't force yourself to type up long-winded emails over and over again. We mentioned we were going to spend a lot of time talking about blocking and tackling. This is stuff that as an LO you really should have your fingers wrapped around. Do I have a bunch of templates in my email? Do I have messages that are related to Listing Booster, related to the phone calls that I'm making? Do I have thank you emails? Do I have emails that would potentially capture more information from the agent or entice them to have somebody use my pre-app 1003? Simple stuff. Now, before we hop into questions, I want to just go real quick. And for the folks that don't know much about Facebook, really what we're talking about is creating ads. And we end up creating ads through are what we call, I guess, community pages or business pages. And we also mentioned using audiences. So I know we showed you on previous ads that you can go to the ads manager. Here you're going to see it up in the upper left-hand corner. You can sort your audience out. You can do videos if you've got videos. You can do lead generation. What would you recommend here, TJ, if I was going to run an ad on my Baltimore real estate report? I'd probably do lead generation or engagement.
Are you doing an ad to the property itself, or just
to the property itself? Yeah, I was just calling.
Like I said, I would do the lead generation component using the lead ads functionality. And just because, like I said, it eliminates the need for any of the extra programs and building out landing pages and things of that nature. Integrates seamlessly with Facebook. And obviously it's a Facebook product, so just like any of the other big tech companies are always want to promote their own internal products above anything else. So that's why Google loves YouTube, right? Because they own them. So Facebook will always put extra weight to Facebook Live because it's one of their internal features. So same thing with lead ads here.
Now here I'm going to do just an example. Kevin Bilberry lives in Delray Beach. I helped him create a page a little while ago. Just showing you guys, I would perhaps run an ad from the Delray Beach page. The agent Jerry I showed a couple calls ago, he has a custom audience uploaded from his email opt-ins and from the pixels. We'll go more into detail on this perhaps in other programs or other calls. But we're starting out with a page. We're starting out with an audience. From there, we want to just kind of move forward with our ads. So we could spend 30, 40 minutes going through exactly how to do all this, but it's more important at this point that you understand why we're doing this. If you don't understand why, you don't understand how to engage agents over the phone or at the street level, this kind of activity is going to not give you the kind of ROI that you want. And I know that's what all the LOs ask us for. What's my ROI? Well, your ROI on interacting with agents, on meeting them as marketing partners, as helping sellers out, those kind of activities do take you time, but the better you get at them, the less time they take. And ultimately, if you just adopt that as part of your weekly strategy, 15, 20, 30 minutes a day, you're going to find that the ROI on that is basically 10,000% because those activities cost you almost nothing, just the cost of Listing Booster.
Right. Yeah, Fish, I would argue that, if you removed from this presentation, if you removed all of the paid ad concepts and you just did the non-paid stuff, you would still be extremely, extremely successful because other people just aren't doing that. So, I mean, look, guys, we know I love Facebook ads. I mean, that's my thing. I'm not like you guys. I'm not the super networker. I try, but I'm not quite there. So I do use Facebook ads as a crutch sometimes. But just doing that non-paid organic stuff, interacting with people, showing the agents what you do, that you truly are, as you said, a marketing partner. You're not just putting your hand out, asking for them to entrust your paycheck to you, but you want to be part of their team and help them generate business. You take, was it 7? We have 7 non-paid steps in there, I think. Mm-hmm. If you do those 7 steps, I guess really 13 if you include Frank's 5. You do that every week, I have no doubt that everyone will be ridiculously successful with Listing Booster, with building new, strong agent relationships, and then just making sure that you're asking for the business, and you'll get it because you're giving them something that everyone else isn't. Everyone else is paying for Zillow, right? Paying for Zillow and buying them lunch. You're going ahead and you're showing them how you can promote these properties, get new leads, new, fresh, quality leads that are exclusive to them at zero cost. As you just said, man, you eliminate the cost of these expensive lead gen things, the Zillows and the Boomtowns. If you can eliminate that, your ROI instantly goes up.
That's interesting. That's interesting because I always look at this with loan officers is what I found, and I thought this was going to be wrong, is you can either spend an investment of money or an investment of time. And I always thought that people would default to an investment of their time. The investment of time is when you're not paying for the lead gen, where you're actually putting the work in to put your ads together, to go ahead and do the appropriate postings in the fashion that we're telling you. If you do that, you're going to get the type of return on your investment that TJ's talking about. What we find is most loan officers and real estate agents would rather invest their money than their time. And the proof is in the pudding. Loan officers and real estate agents are willing to spend an exorbitant amount of money. All you have to do is look at Zillow to not have to put in the work. Now, you're spending the thousands of dollars with Zillow, and you're getting leads that are stepped on by 2 or 3 other lenders and real estate agents. Okay? So it's costing you a huge amount of money on something that's going to convert at a fairly low rate. Now, you keep that money in your pocket, those thousands of dollars, and you decide to invest your time. What TJ's telling you is, well, wait a minute here. You're going to be generating your own leads. They're not going to be leads that are going to be shared with other lenders or other real estate agents, but you're going to have to put in the time. The big question you guys need to be asking yourself is, one, how hard is it going to be for me to learn how to do this stuff and really be proficient at it? And two, how much time is it going to take me to implement this every day? And what I'm hearing time and time again from both of these guys, and what I've seen in my own experiences, is that if you invest the time to understand how to do this, you'll realize that your daily activities, we're not talking hours, we're talking literally minutes. You could spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the beginning of your day basically, baiting your hooks and casting your lines to catch your fish. And if you did that every day, you're going to catch fish. So I think what we're really talking about here is encouraging time investments, not necessarily money investments. Well, we got 10 minutes left, and there's a couple of questions in here that I did want to have you guys answer because I'm curious to see how you're going to answer them. Jay Pierce, he says, how do you overcome resistance when somebody is not already set up in ListHub and you have to get their broker owner to sign up? Now, I always said, talk to the broker owner. Let's not, tiptoe around this thing. Go knock on the door, call the broker owner, get the agent involved, sit down, have the conversation, and say, I need you to invest 5 minutes of your time so your office can become better at marketing. I don't see why that is such a hard thing, and yet internally, there's been a handful of times when it's this massive reluctance amongst loan officers to go in here and have these conversations, because ultimately that's what needs to take place. Do you guys see it any differently?
Nope, 100% correct. I mean, the biggest thing with us as loan officers, and I suffer from it too, I think with something like this, sometimes it's a lack of confidence. But I think that if you have the confidence to go ahead and pick up the phone and call that broker owner, it's only going to behoove you, because you're going in there trying to work with one agent. You get the broker owner in there, you say, hey, I need you to do this so I can so your real estate agent can be better at marketing. That broker owner's going to be like, wait a second. I've got about 10 or 15 agents that really need to hear this as well.
Yep. And that's really and TJ, you're so right here, because, again, I've seen this a ton of times, and really use that as an opportunity. Hey, by the way, this is Brian Stevens over here with ABC Mortgage. Just wanted to let you know I'm working with Bob over there in your office, and he wants to use this product that I've experienced enormous success with. Go ahead and name drop, with this agent, with this agent, with this agent of your competition, where we're generating a shit ton of leads over here. And I need you to spend 5 minutes to get this thing hooked up in ListHub. And oh, by the way, while we're on it, this is something that we should really talk about with all of your real estate agents, because after all, that broker owner, above all, wants their office to close more deals.
Yep.
And if that broker owner believes that you are going to be one of the pathways for them to close more deals, it's not only about getting them signed up for that one agent, it's about you using that as an opportunity to put yourself in front of all their other agents. And I've seen this happen just a ton of times. So use that as an opportunity more than anything, but the only way to do it is to hit it head on. Now, there was one time when we had a broker who had his head up his ass. And there's going to be occasions where there's just, it's just not going to work. But you will not know that until you are personally having a conversation with that broker owner saying, I'm working with your agent, Bob. Bob wants to experience the same type of success that he knows I'm having with agents that are working in competition against your office. All I want to do is afford your office the same advantages that your competition has. I mean, have that conversation, hit it head on. Okay, so Brad and that was Jay, by the way. It's a great question, Jay, because Jay, that is something that we hear in here quite a bit. Okay, Brad Furman, he says, what's the best way? Okay, all right. What's the best way to find these groups with a lot of members?
Uh,
Start out just typing the name of your city
Yeah.
and type
Yard sale.
for sale.
Yep.
Yeah, yard sale, for sale, moms groups. You can be the only lender in a moms group. Little secret there. I'm in about 6 or 7 moms groups. When I see something pop up related to mortgage, I have one of my past clients go tag me. But you want to be careful if you're joining groups to perhaps message the admin once in a while and get to know them. The most successful thing for you is to perhaps keep those posts going. And if you join these groups and you put the posts in there and all of a sudden they get deleted, it's not going to work very well. So
let me add 2 things as far as discovering the groups. If you're using your phone, if you do a lot of business from your phone like we do, Facebook actually has a groups app that you can go ahead and download, and on there that gives you an option to go ahead and discover groups. Also, if you are on your desktop or your laptop, depending on how you have your Facebook set up, again, they changed a lot, but I believe on that left-hand column, you'll have a little icon that says groups. If you click on there and click discover, it will give you all these suggested groups, and one of them is for sale. And it's going to be geo-targeted, so it's going to be right around your area. And I have yet to discover an area that does not have hundreds of these groups. I mean, you're 5 to 30,000 people in each one of these groups.
Yeah.
if you want, Brian, flip back over to my screen. I'll show you guys real quick.
We're on your screen.
Okay, you guys can see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just, like TJ said, you just go to your main screen, home screen, find the groups. Over here, left side, groups. And there you go. There's a whole bunch of them right there.
Wow.
And the other really cool feature about that is it's going to give you suggested groups based upon what groups your friends are in, so you can really see what type of degenerates your friends are.
There you go. Okay, so Jay Pierce, he also asked, how do I promote a listing on my Facebook page? It's copying and pasting the URL, and that's a strategy that we had covered a couple of weeks ago. And Jay, because we're up against time right now, jump over into the Facebook Kills group, and we'll get something posted up there for you on how to do that. And okay, and I think that was all, Carolyn. No, wrong Carolyn. Okay. Anyways, just to let you guys know, everybody here, before we close out, let me do this. Hold on. So we were going to have a absolutely ass-kicking, super cool loan officer come do a speaking thing with us here pretty soon. I think we're still going to have it happen. I did a webinar with him. His name is Victor Bales about a year ago. He's enormously inspiring for me because he's just so positive about the business. He's a top producer, and he's built out all his own CRMs by hand, and it's the most all-inclusive system I've ever seen. I mean, it's just remarkable. So we were going to have him speak last week. I go away on vacation. In fact, we were going to have him last week. I went away on vacation, didn't look at Facebook or touch my phone one time for 7 days. It was wonderful. And I came back and saw a post here that Victor had a cerebral hemorrhage in the back of his head yesterday. He lost his ability to walk, and he's got numbness on part of his body. So, anyways, for me, and I know for Michael, who knows him as well, it's just a very catastrophic thing for us to hear. So when we were opening this thing up, I saw that Victor was online, and I just was tripped out, and very happy to hear that. So for those of you who know Victor, I guess he's doing better right now, and so he's recovering. His faculties are all still in shape. He's got some physical limited abilities right now, but just keep him in your thoughts. He's a good dude, and it's my hopes that sometime in the next week or so that we are going to have Victor on here as his recovery continues. So that's a good thing for everybody to hear. Again, join us in Mortgage Shots Kills, guys. Me and Michael Fisher are going to be going live in there in a couple hours today, once again. And we're going to start to really put some direction to that group and really start to put together a plan of attack so you guys can take some of the strategies that we have and get them more in depth so you understand them better, so your investment of time will be better utilized, and you can start to, bait your hooks and cast your lines and start to catch more clients here in the coming weeks and months. I think we've got everything wrapped up. You guys cool?
Yep, absolutely, man.
Michael?
Awesome. Good stuff, man.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you in Kills here in a couple hours, and if not, make sure you meet us here next week. We'll talk to you soon.
One thing, Brian, just to remind folks, I don't know if you're on my screen right now, but people always ask us for the replays. You and Kian have been putting them in the Kills coaching. We've got the last few weeks here. If you wanted to catch some of the stuff we talked about today that we referenced was in previous calls. We've got the last 4 Mortgage Shots Kills Hangouts. We've got them all here for you. So.
Yeah, and this one will be posted there in the next couple of hours.
Cool.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate your time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, I got to talk to you about something totally fucking awesome.